Hello everyone and happy Saturday and welcome to your Saturday morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Let's get started right now. First up, New England Pond Hockey Classic canceled due to unsafe playing conditions. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand you've got to get vaccinated.
The annual New England Pond Hockey Classic has been canceled. Over 275 teams were scheduled to compete in more than 500 games at Lake Winnipesaukee this weekend. Friday's games were already canceled because of yesterday's storms, but organizers say the combination of warm temperatures, rain, sleet, and snow made conditions on the lake simply unplayable and unsafe.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Crews work to clear New Hampshire roads of slush and icy mix. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand you've got to get vaccinated.
Well, Tom, I can tell you from experience driving here, the roads are slippery, they are slushy, but crews have been out since 5 this morning. You can actually see some of them behind me, and they are expected to be out until 5 on Saturday for 24 hours of work there, keeping the roads safe. But officials with the DPW say the snow emergency will continue for the night. Accumulation for this storm started early. Deputy Public Works Director Tim Claudery says it started with rain. He explains they usually use brine machines to pre-treat roads for ice, but this time the rain would wash it off. Of course, Saturday's nor'easter remains in many of our minds. Clardy says this storm isn't the same light and fluffy snow we saw then.
They all create their own individual challenges. This one started with rain, makes the snow a little bit heavier, and my understanding is we're going to get some pretty cold temperatures. So if we don't get the roads completely cleared, that has a potential to freeze, which can cause other icing issues on the road.
Issues with the DPW say 50 pieces of equipment will be out there tonight trying to keep roads.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Improvements made to find psychiatrists to evaluate suspects in New Hampshire. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Whoa. Sorry, you probably didn't catch all that. Well, as you can see,
last May, News 9 Investigates reported on a statewide shortage of psychiatrists who evaluate the dangerousness of suspects charged with crimes. Since then, one county attorney says the process has improved significantly.
It wasn't widely known that there was this problem, and so once it became more widely known that there was a problem like this, we were able to come up with a solution.
The issue came to light after an alleged sexual assault in Manchester. A Murray Deal was in jail on an unrelated case, but News 9 Investigates discovered that because prosecutors could not get the required psychiatric evaluation within a 90-day window, Deal was released. 2 days later, Manchester police say he attacked a woman at a cemetery. A hearing was scheduled in his case for today, but was canceled. Belknap County Attorney Andrew Livernois says since that case came to light, the Attorney General's office worked with all 10 county attorneys to come up with a list of psychiatrists and nurse practitioners who can do the competency evaluations.
I had a case just this month of a defendant who was found not competent and not restorable and dangerous. And I reached out to the Attorney General's office. We were able to line up a psychiatrist to do the evaluation. That was done in a timely fashion.
In a statement, Attorney General John Formella says we will not be complacent and will continue to work hard to build on the progress we have made.
So it's working. It's actually working quite well now.
The Belknap County Attorney says they are still looking at the system as a whole to see if there are legislative fixes that still need to be made. But that's a long-term goal, and in the short term, these improvements are working. Reporting live, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. 2 lawsuits against youth detention center thrown out for lack of specifics. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Whoa. Sorry, you probably didn't catch all that. Well, as you can see,
the suits are just 2 of more than 450 filed against the state, alleging abuse at the Sununu Youth Services Center, formerly called the Youth Development Center. The allegations span 6 decades and name more than 150 current and former workers, accusing them of physical and sexual abuse. All of the plaintiffs are represented by the same attorney, Russ Riley from Bedford, and many of the lawsuits are nearly identical, but include very few specifics which could prove to be an issue. In December, the state began filing motions to have roughly 40 of the suits against them and against the agency that oversees the Sununu Youth Center dismissed. This week, Judge Andrew Schulman agreed to dismiss 2 of those complaints, writing of one that, quote, the plaintiff did not say anything about what he specifically experienced, and saying the complaint, quote, consists of nothing more than invective and bald conclusions. The judge is now giving the plaintiff 30 days to amend the complaint and allege more specific facts. Riley says he and his client intend to do just that, saying in a statement to News 9, quote, the time has come for the state to acknowledge what it did to these kids, apologize to them, and accept full responsibility for their abuse. Until that happens, we will never stop fighting for these brave survivors, no matter what obstacles and hurdles the state tries to throw in our way.
And while only 2 suits were dismissed for now, attorney Russ Riley tells News 9 that he does plan to amend all 450-plus lawsuits and list more specific facts in the next couple of months. He says these cases aren't going anywhere. Live in studio, Scott Cook, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire's first black sheriff joins ranks of history makers. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When you're launching a home improvement project, quality lumber from our drive-through lumber yards makes all the difference. At Beltate's Building Supply, you'll find a wide selection of the lumber and building materials you need for any project.
Visit us at beltates.com or any of our 9 locations.
Stratford County Sheriff Mark Brave is the only African-American sheriff in the state. At 35 years old, his accomplishment is more than a career milestone. It's a mark in history.
Because once it hit me that I had won, it was like, okay, like now all eyes on me, game on.
During his campaign, he says he wasn't sure that he would make it this far.
You know, it was tough for law enforcement. On top of that, I'm campaigning as a black person in this state or in this county. With the George Floyd murders, COVID kind of dangling over our heads at the time. Just the political environment with the presidential stuff, and so it was a tough. Our county was divided in that aspect on the federal level.
Now proud to join the ranks of African American firsts in New Hampshire, Sheriff Brave hopes to inspire the next generation. Another history maker in the Granite State is Wentworth Cheswell, the first African American man to be elected into public office in the United States. In 1768, Cheswell was elected as town constable of Newmarket, the first of many positions.
After he was elected, he served his community in some way for every year of his life but one. He was constable, the school teacher, selectman, assessor. He was a moderator.
Efforts are underway in Concord right now to honor Cheswell for his contributions. House Bill 1586 would display a likeness of Cheswell inside the State House. Following in Cheswell's footsteps, Sheriff Brave says he hopes his story inspires more Granite Staters.
As long as you have self-motivation, regardless of the color of your skin, you're going to get through, to your goals.
Alyssa Ali, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Former Vice President Pence speaks out on January 6th investigation. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Welcome aboard, aboard the Disney Bundle. To your left, blockbuster hits with Disney Plus, then Hulu for laughs and drama. Next, nonstop sports with ESPN Plus. All aboard the Disney Bundle. Upgrade your entertainment with Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus for just $13.99 a month.
Former Vice President Mike Pence late today striking back at former President Trump, saying President Trump is wrong to say that Pence, as vice president, had the right to overturn the election. Pence then saying there is almost no idea more un-American. It comes on the same day the Republican Party went after two members of Congress for continuing to ask questions about who helped plan and orchestrate the January 6th attack. Here's our chief Washington correspondent, Jonathan Karl, on the former vice president and what he said.
Tonight, something we have never heard before from Mike Pence, declaring Donald Trump is wrong when he said that as vice president, Pence had the right to change the outcome and could have overturned the 2020 election.
I heard this week that President Trump said I had the right to overturn the election. But President Trump is wrong. I had no right to overturn the election. The presidency belongs to the American people and the American people alone. And frankly, there is no idea more un-American than the notion that any one person could choose the American president.
On January 6th and in the days before, the former president put enormous pressure in private and in public on Pence to overturn the election.
I hope Mike is going to do the right thing. I hope so. I hope so. Because if Mike Pence does the right thing, we win the election.
Today, Pence said that doing what Trump demanded would have been a clear violation of the U.S. Constitution, delivering a warning to his own party.
I understand the disappointment many feel about the last election. I was on the ballot. And the truth is, there's more at stake than our party or political fortunes. Men and women, if we lose faith in the Constitution, we won't just lose elections. We'll lose our country.
But just hours before Pence spoke, the Republican Party went in the other direction, voting at their annual meeting to censure the two Republican members of Congress who were taking part in the January 6th investigation. The censure resolution condemned Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois and Liz Cheney of Wyoming for, quote, participating in a Democrat-led persecution of ordinary citizens engaged in legitimate political discourse. In response, Congresswoman Cheney tweeted this video of the attack on the Capitol. This was January 6th, Cheney wrote. This is not, quote, legitimate political discourse. After the resolution passed, the RNC put out a statement insisting that they weren't referring to the violence at the Capitol as legitimate political discourse, despite the words of its resolution. But, David, it is unclear what, quote, ordinary citizens it refers to, Cheney and Kinzinger allegedly persecuting, if not those that attacked the Capitol. We've asked, but we haven't heard a clarification about who or what they were talking about.
All right, Jonathan Karl live in Washington. John, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for your morning news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. See you later on today for another news update. Thank you for tuning in and listening.